In this video today I'll be reviewing how to do the FD to EF conversion on a 24L using my conversion plate. The aperture control arm in this lens is a fairly strong spring, so a few extra steps you need to do to ensure that everything's properly aligned. A couple things I want to go over before we get started is that this tab here, which is part of the outer control ring for the aperture setting, in order for this ring to drop into place, it'll need to be aligned with this notch here, as well as this nylon button. When the conversion plate presses that down, drives this into this little notch here, which is also part of the outside control ring. If this isn't properly aligned, you'll get some binding on when trying to change your aperture, and going through these steps here will minimize that. The surface that actually presses on that nylon button is this area here. We're going to be using one of these edges to kind of rotate this inside by turning it, and I'll highlight that when we get to that point, but that's the purpose of this video here today. So let's get started. First thing you need to do is make sure that your lens is on f/16. That'll make the process a little easier. So we want to get this lever in the chrome horseshoe blade control arm down there. There we go. So we're going to rotate this clockwise a bit, and we want to make sure that the mechanism controlling the blades stays in contact with the aperture control arm until the notch and tab line up. You see I kind of push it there to help it get down. Once it's in place, it's not going to go anywhere. And then we can proceed to the next step, which is installing the plate itself. So to install the plate, what we're going to do is move our aperture control ring to the A position. By doing so, we've narrowed this distance and how far we have to rotate before the nylon button and the divot align. We're going to use the plate to rotate this into place until that button drops in. We'll feel the plate kind of drop just a bit. That means everything's aligned. We're going to hold it there and then install the screws. So let's do that now. We want to line up our screw holes. And so before putting it in this place, we just want to rotate it counterclockwise a bit to make sure that that button's up inside that channel area. Rotate it clockwise until you get some resistance. That means that wall is pushing up against that tower. And we want to put slight downward tension so that the plate is applying pressure to that nylon button. Rotate clockwise until there. You'll feel it and kind of see the plate drop. That means that button dropped into that notch. So we want to hold this firmly now in place and not lightly. In order to install the screws, we're going to have to rotate this back counterclockwise until the screw holes align with the threaded holes of the lens. And at this point we want to install our screws, just lightly snugging them. This step's a little easier if you have a magnetic screwdriver or someone with an extra pair of hands. I have neither at the moment, but you can see it's still possible to complete this conversion. By the way, I'm using a 0 by 50 millimeter screwdriver. Seems to work well in holding the screws even without any magnet. So now that I've installed the screws, we want to verify that our aperture control is working smoothly, and it is. You want to verify that the blades are moving along with that, and they are. And so at this point, you can now snug all 4 of the mounting screws. Do one more check. Yep, everything moves as it should. And now you're ready to use this wonderful lens on your digital SLR. Enjoy.